Every great story begins with a question. Here is ours. How did a reality television star from Queens, New York, with no prior government or military experience, become the most controversial and consequential president in American history, not once, but twice? Donald John Trump is a name synonymous with luxury, controversy, and unprecedented political upheaval. He is the first person ever elected to the U.S. presidency without any previous government or military experience. He is the only president to be impeached twice. He is the first former president to be convicted of a felony. And he is the second president in American history and the first in over a century to be elected to 2 non-consecutive terms. The story begins on June 14, 1946, in the borough of Queens, New York City. Donald John Trump was the 4th of 5 children born to Fred Trump, a successful real estate developer, and Mary Ann MacLeod Trump, a Scottish immigrant who worked as a homemaker. Growing up, young Donald was energetic and sometimes unruly. His parents decided to enroll him in the New York Military Academy at the age of 13, where he learned discipline and thrived in the structured environment. He played on the baseball team and was known for his competitive spirit. After high school, Trump studied for 2 years at Fordham University before transferring to the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Finance and Commerce. He graduated in 1968 with a bachelor's degree in economics. During the Vietnam War, he received 4 student deferments and 1 medical deferment for heel spurs and was not drafted for military service. After graduation, Donald joined his father's company, Elizabeth Trump & Son, which focused on middle-class rental housing in the outer boroughs of New York City. In 1971, he took over the company and renamed it the Trump Organization, signaling his ambition to expand beyond his father's modest empire. In the 1970s and 80s, Trump made a name for himself in Manhattan real estate with high-profile projects. He developed the Grand Hyatt New York Hotel, which opened in 1980, and Trump Tower, a luxury high-rise on Fifth Avenue that opened in 1983 and became his signature property. He expanded his empire to include casinos in Atlantic City, the Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, Florida, and even an airline. In 1987, his first book, The Art of the Deal, was published and became a bestseller, cementing his image as a master negotiator and businessman. However, the early 1990s brought financial turmoil. An economic downturn, the collapse of his casino empire, and massive debt led to multiple business bankruptcies. At one point, his net worth was estimated to be negative $900 million. He was forced to sell his airline and take out second and third mortgages on his properties. But Trump famously made a comeback, rebuilding his fortune through licensing deals and new ventures. While Trump was known in business circles, it was television that made him a household name across America and the world. In 2004, he became the host and executive producer of the NBC reality show The Apprentice. The show featured contestants competing for a job at one of Trump's companies. It became a massive hit, largely due to Trump's commanding presence and his signature catchphrase, which he later trademarked, "You're fired." The show ran for 14 seasons and earned him an estimated $1 million per episode. Beyond The Apprentice, Trump made cameo appearances in numerous films and television shows, often playing a fictionalized version of himself. From Home Alone 2 to Sex and the City, his celebrity status was cemented in American pop culture. He also owned the Miss Universe, Miss USA, and Miss Teen USA beauty pageants from 1996 to 2015, further expanding his brand into the entertainment industry. By the time he considered a serious run for president, Trump was not just a businessman, he was a bona fide celebrity. Throughout his career, Trump had flirted with politics. He switched party affiliations multiple times, Democrat, Republican, Reform Party, and even considered a presidential run in 2000 under the Reform Party banner. But it wasn't until 2015 that he took the plunge.
On June 16, 2015, Donald Trump descended the golden escalator in Trump Tower to announce his candidacy for President of the United States. His speech was controversial from the start. He described Mexican immigrants as bringing drugs, bringing crime, they're rapists, while adding, "Some, I assume, are good people." The statement drew immediate backlash, but it also resonated with a segment of the American public that felt left behind by globalization. His campaign slogan, "Make America Great Again," became a rallying cry for millions who felt that the American dream was slipping away. Despite facing 16 other Republican candidates, Trump dominated the primaries with his unorthodox style, attacking political correctness and promising to build a wall on the Mexican border. In the general election, he faced Hillary Clinton, a former First Lady, Senator, and Secretary of State. Polls predicted a Clinton victory, but on November 8, 2016, Trump pulled off one of the greatest upsets in American political history. He won 304 electoral votes to Clinton's 227, even though Clinton received nearly 2.9 million more popular votes. Donald John Trump was inaugurated as the 45th President of the United States on January 20, 2017. At 70 years old, he was the oldest person to assume the presidency at that time. In his inaugural address, he painted a dark picture of American carnage and promised to put America first. His first term was marked by significant legislative achievements. He signed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, which lowered taxes for corporations and individuals. He also appointed 3 Supreme Court justices, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett, fundamentally reshaping the federal judiciary for a generation. In foreign policy, Trump withdrew the United States from the Trans-Pacific Trade Deal and the Paris Climate Agreement. He imposed tariffs on China, leading to a trade war, and renegotiated NAFTA into the USMCA. He also recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and moved the U.S. Embassy there. Trump held 3 meetings with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, becoming the first sitting U.S. president to set foot in North Korea. While no denuclearization agreement was reached, the summits were historic in their symbolism. However, his presidency was also defined by controversy and investigation. Special counsel Robert Mueller investigated Russian interference in the 2016 election and possible collusion with the Trump campaign. While the Mueller report did not establish a criminal conspiracy, it detailed numerous contacts and did not exonerate Trump on obstruction of justice. In 2019, Trump was impeached for the first time. The House of Representatives charged him with abuse of power and obstruction of Congress for pressuring Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to investigate Joe Biden, his political rival, while withholding military aid. In February 2020, the Senate acquitted him. In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic swept across the globe, and the United States became the hardest-hit country. Trump's handling of the pandemic was widely criticized as slow and inconsistent. He contracted the virus himself in October and was hospitalized for 3 days at Walter Reed Medical Center. In 2020, Trump faced Democratic nominee Joe Biden. On November 7th, after days of vote counting, major news networks called the race for Biden. Trump lost the Electoral College by 306 to 232 and the popular vote by more than 7 million. But Trump refused to concede. He and his allies made unsubstantiated claims of widespread vote fraud, filing dozens of lawsuits that were almost all dismissed or rejected by courts, including the Supreme Court. He pressured state officials and his own Vice President Pence to overturn the results. On January 6, 2021, as Congress convened to certify the electoral votes, Trump held a rally near the White House, urging his supporters to fight like hell and march to the Capitol. A mob then stormed the U.S. Capitol, forcing lawmakers to evacuate and temporarily halt the certification. The attack resulted in multiple deaths and millions of dollars in damage. 1 week later, on January 13, 2021, the House of Representatives impeached Trump for a second time, this time for incitement of insurrection. He became the only president in American history to be impeached twice. The Senate trial occurred after he had left office, and he was acquitted again in February. Despite leaving office, Trump remained the dominant force in the Republican Party. He continued to claim the 2020 election was stolen and teased a potential comeback. Meanwhile, legal troubles were mounting. In 2023, Trump became the first former U.S. president to face criminal charges.
He was indicted in 4 separate cases: in New York for hush money payments to Stormy Daniels, in Florida for mishandling classified documents, in Washington, D.C. for attempting to overturn the 2020 election, and in Georgia for election interference. In May 2024, a New York jury found Trump guilty on all 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in the hush money case. He became the first former president to be convicted of a felony. However, following his victory in the 2024 presidential election, the judge indefinitely postponed his sentencing to navigate the unprecedented legal complexities of a president-elect facing a state conviction. In November 2022, Trump announced his candidacy for the 2024 presidential election despite his legal battles. He won the Republican nomination and, in July 2024, survived an assassination attempt at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania where a bullet grazed his ear. The image of him raising his fist with blood on his face became iconic. In the 2024 general election, he faced Vice President Kamala Harris, who became the Democratic nominee after President Biden withdrew from the race. On November 5, 2024, Trump defeated Harris decisively, winning 312 electoral votes to 226 and becoming the first Republican to win the popular vote in 20 years. With this victory, Trump became the second U.S. president in history to serve non-consecutive terms, following Grover Cleveland in the 19th century. He was inaugurated as the 47th president on January 20, 2025, at the age of 78, once again becoming the oldest president to be inaugurated. Donald Trump's journey is one of resilience, controversy, and relentless ambition. From a Queens real estate developer to a reality TV star, from a one-term president who lost the popular vote to a convicted felon, and finally to a victorious comeback as the 47th president, his story defies conventional political logic. His supporters see him as a fighter who challenges the establishment and puts America first. His critics view him as a threat to democratic institutions and norms. Regardless of one's perspective, his impact on American politics, the judiciary, and the nation's cultural divide is undeniable. What makes Trump's story so compelling is that it's far from over. As the 47th president, he continues to shape the nation's direction, implement his America First agenda, and navigate the legal and political challenges that follow him. The ultimate verdict on his legacy will be written by history and by how he plays the remaining chapters of his unprecedented journey. The game is never over. How will you play? Thank you for watching this text documentary. Please like, subscribe, and share what you found most surprising about Trump's journey in the comments below.